keep you aware of the concerns and events affecting our lives. Join us now as we take the pulse of the black community.
Good evening. I'm Dr. James Haney, your host for this week's edition of Black Pulse. With me are two special guests who will tell us some information about Job Corps this afternoon, and they are LHarrison, who is the Director of Field Operations, and Mr. Jim Johnson, who is a Job Corps interviewer. Mr. Harrison, as the Director of Field Operations for the State Employment Securities Division, what is your responsibility in that area?
Dr. Haney, I have responsibility for the operations of our 76 field offices across the state. Employment Security basically operates the unemployment insurance program, the job service program, and labor market information, and of course Job Corps, which we're interested in talking to you about today, is one of those programs that we operate through the job services program.
How many other programs do you operate through the job service program?
There are probably about 8 or 10 programs. Most of our programs in job services relate to the basic labor exchange. We take job orders from employers and we try to place people into those jobs. Some of the other programs besides that are our Victory program, which is a program for AFDC recipients. It's a program in which we work with the Department of Human Services to try to help mothers in this program to receive jobs. The food stamp program is a program in which we help recipients of food stamps to get jobs. We have many other programs that we operate.
So Job Corps is only one of a number of programs that you're responsible for in that area? Only
one of many programs, that's correct.
Now, how do you tie Job Corps in with other programs that you're working with? Is there any kind of coordination between Job Corps and, say, the programs that you have dealing with food stamps? Is there any kind of interrelationship between these two programs?
We like to consider that all of our programs are interrelated. Job Corps, if I were to answer you and give you the biggest connection I see, is that in the Job Corps program, we hope as an end result that this young adult who goes through the program winds up with a productive job and paying taxes. So it does tie in with the other labor exchange programs that we operate. When you mentioned, Dr. Haney, the food stamp program, we have, I'm certain, a number of people who are in the Job Corps program who happen to be members of families that receive food stamps. So there is that connection, yes.
Very good. Mr. Johnson, the new Job Corps, I think we spoke this morning about
yes.
Job Corps, and I think I made a distinction between what I call the old Job Corps and the new Job Corps. You're more familiar, I think, with the new Job Corps.
Yes.
And I was telling him this morning that I came up during a period of the 1960s in 1965, and my first real job was in Job Corps as a residential counselor and eventually as an educator, and then moving on from there into higher education. But perhaps, Mr. Johnson, you would like to tell us something about what the new Job Corps is all about.
Well, the new Job Corps program, of course, it's a federally funded program. It's a program for unemployed and underemployed young people. It's a vocational skill training program. The program is, although it's federally funded, it's still operated by private industry. There's union participation in the program. Not only do the young people receive training in vocational skills, they also receive training in social skills and cultural type activities as well.
What about the eligibility of persons for Job Corps?
Okay, you have to be between the ages of 16 and 21 years of age. You have to be from a economically disadvantaged environment.
Now, exactly what do you mean when you say an economic
Okay, let's just, for an example, let's say a family of 4. We're talking about a mother and father and 2 youngsters in the family. I think the income guidelines or the income criteria would be $11,100. So if that family's income was over that amount, then they would not be eligible for the program. However, If the youngster is 18 years of age, even though he's living at home and he has worked in the past, he could be considered a family of one. And he could be eligible, you know, to receive this free training. And
if he falls below the guidelines,
Yes,
financial
yes.
guidelines.
Uh-huh.
Very well. What about persons who are outside of that financial guideline?
Well,
They're not eligible for the program.
Yes, sir, that's true. They're not eligible. I guess the Department of Labor in Washington is the one that administers the program. We just deliver the screening, the outreach, and the recruitment. They set the guidelines, and I guess they just feel like that if they earn more money than that, perhaps we can keep them at home and teach them something here locally, probably.
But what about the educational qualifications for this?
The great majority of the young people are high school dropouts for one reason or another. They are from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. There are some high school graduates in the program, though. They've dropped out of school. They don't have a job. In many instances, their families are on food stamps, on AFDC. A lot of instances, we sign up quite a few young ladies. They've got a young child at home. Job Corps will they will send an allotment home every month for somebody to keep that person's child for them while they go away to Job Corps Center.
So that's an element of it.
Yes, so it's just